Welcome back to the Boot Tragedies. Derek Carr will be visiting the New Orleans Saints today. Well, if you're watching this video at a later date, then it'll probably already passed. But Derek Carr is in New Orleans. He will visit the Saints. And this is very interesting. The Saints are moving quick. He's been granted permission by the Raiders to come visit the Saints. Now, the Saints have a lot of options. Derek Carr has a few options. The Raiders really don't have any options. It's basically they're at Derek Carr's will right now, because if he's not gone before the February 15th date, it triggers his contract, which is $40.4 million guaranteed. Like I said, that triggers February 15th, so that time is coming soon. That's about a week away. So they have to get things rolling. They're going to try to finesse some picks out of this because they know they have to cut them on that date, because they're not going to guarantee $40.5 million to a quarterback that they don't want. So this is definitely going to make things very, very interesting. Derek Carr already came out at the Pro Bowl, I believe, and said he's not pushing that day back. He's not going to help them and push that day back to March, push that day back to April, or anything like that. And from his standpoint, that's what he should do. Hey, if you're going to cut me at the earliest date possible. Why would I help y'all, get your ducks in a row, get your ducks in order, and push this back a month? That's only, messing my chances up at free agency, messing my chances up to get a trade, because, as a quarterback, a veteran guy, usually if you get close to that draft time, people do not want to speak on free agents. They do not want to see, really anything in that market. So, becoming a free agent in February, it's much better for Derek Carr. So I definitely understand why he doesn't want to push that back. And I understand why the Raiders would want to push it back. It gives them more time to get a plan A, plan B. But good for Derek Carr. He's not pushing that back. If you're going to cut me, just cut me. Also, the biggest thing about this is Derek Carr owns a no-trade clause. So you can't just go get a 7th-round pick, a 6th-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, whatever you want to, compensation may be from another team. You just can't go get that without Derek Carr's approval. He has to approve the team he's going to, which is big for him. Like, let's say Derek Carr really wanted to go to the Saints, and let's just throw a random team out there. The Seahawks really wanted Derek Carr as well. Say the Seahawks offered a 1st-round pick for Derek Carr, and the Saints only offered a 6th. Raiders just can't say, we're taking the 1st-round pick from Seattle. You go to Seattle if he doesn't want to go there. So that's going to be definitely a huge thing for Derek Carr. He kind of holds all the chips here. He holds all the chips. The Raiders are at his mercy. So basically, if he doesn't want to go to a team, the Raiders can't do anything about that. Doesn't matter what they want, what type of compensation they think they can receive from other teams. If Derek Carr doesn't want to go there, then it's just nothing they can do about that. Just nothing they can do about that. He can decline any trade, so that's definitely going to be big for him. Now, let's talk about the Saints and Derek Carr. The Saints have a couple options. They can meet with Derek Carr and be like, hey, we want you. We need you. Let's make a trade. Now, obviously, making a trade will be complicated because it's contract and things like that. So that's definitely going to be an issue right there. You can't just trade for a guy with that big of a contract that he's going to have. So that thing, those things will have to get worked out with the Raiders. Also, what would the compensation be? This guy's going to be cut within a week. So you don't want to give up a lot, but also you don't want competition to come. Let's say the Falcons, the Seahawks, whoever you think may need a quarterback, the Panthers all want, Derek Carr as well, and he starts to meet with them. You don't want that, because if it comes to free agency, it might become a bidding war. You might not want to pay as much for a quarterback. So I can understand if the Saints sent a 6th or a 7th-round pick to just get him. They just beat all of the battles, with other teams in free agency. I can understand that point, but at the same time, you don't want to overpay for a guy that's about to get cut. You don't know what his market's going to be. So, both of those things that Mickey Loomis and the Saints are going to have to consider. What I tweeted and what I think the Saints should do is, if you really, really want Derek Carr, if you really want him, do not let him leave the building. You get a contract together. Maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's a 1+1 year, whatever it is. If you really want him, convince him that you want him. Convince him to say, hey, I'm not going to discuss, contracts with any other team. I'm not going to get traded to any other team. We have a contract, a verbal agreement right here, and you just wait that week out. You wait the week out to February 15th and let the Raiders cut him, and then you sign him that day. It makes no sense to give up compensation if you can agree to a deal with Derek Carr before, a trade even comes. If you really want him, let him know, hey, we're not trying to give up picks for you. We're not trying to do this. We're not trying to do that. Obviously, if you're the quarterback of this team, you should want us to have the most picks possible. So let's just agree to some terms right here. Let's agree to some terms. And when you get cut on February 15th, we'll just sign you outright. That way we keep our pick and everything goes smooth sailing. Now, will the Saints do that? I don't know. But that's what I would do if I was the GM. It's no way I'm giving up picks for a guy that's going to be cut by February 15th. Maybe another team comes in and swoop in, but if they do, oh well. But if you're going to get the first visit, you let him know what you want, how you're going to do this, how we're going to go about this. If he agrees, perfect. If he doesn't, oh well. At the same time, you got to give it a try. Now, I will talk about Carr in relation to the quarterbacks on our roster. This will be quick because he's not a Saint yet, so we won't go into too much detail. Now, obviously, he's an upgrade He's a tremendous upgrade over Andy Dalton. People keep bringing up Andy Dalton's QBR and things this year that said Derek Carr may have been a better quarterback than Andy Dalton, blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't give a shit. I have eyes. I know that Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. It's just simple as that. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care what the stats say. I'm sure I can find some stats that make, guys look better than quarterbacks that they're obviously not better than. I don't care what the stats say. The stats always don't tell the whole story. And I know a lot of people are going to bring up Jameis Winston and that Derek Carr is probably not better than him or this and that. Look, to be honest, I'm going off Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen showed you time and time again he is not going to play Jameis Winston. He does not care for Jameis Winston at the quarterback position. Have we not seen that? We should just give that pipe dream up. We should just give that up. Jameis Winston wanted to play last year. Jameis and Dennis Allen did not let him play. He said Andy Dalton gave them a better chance to win football games. It was a football decision. That was his words. The reason Andy Dalton was playing over Jameis Winston was football decisions. So what makes you think that he wants to play Jameis Winston over Andy Dalton this upcoming season? So I'm just eliminating Jameis Winston from this picture because obviously Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael are not going to play him. So basically, you're telling me it's Andy Dalton or it's Derek Carr, and you give me Derek Carr 100 times out of 100. This move will be good for the Saints if this is what they want to do. I'm not saying I'm on board. I'm not saying I'm off board. I just don't know at this moment. We'll see how this plays out within the next week. If he comes, great. If he doesn't, great. I don't really care. Like I've been saying, man, let Dennis Allen make his bed this season. Let him make his bed this season. Whatever he wants to do, I'm on board with it. Let him, get whatever coordinators he wants. Let him fire who he wants. Let him get the players he wants. Let him draft the way he wants. So if it blows up in his face, this would be his last year as the Saints coach. So look, I'm on board with everything he does. He wants to bring Derek Carr in. He wants Derek Carr to run the ship, have the keys to the ship. Have at it, Derek Carr. Have at it, Dennis Allen. You just better hope it works out. Everyone wants to bring up Derek Carr's, season stats this year, and rightfully so. He had a bad year this year. He only completed 61% of his passes, threw for 3,500 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. Had an 86.3 quarterback rating. But he's played more than one season in the NFL. You can't tell me in 2021 that almost 68.5% of his passes, 4,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 94 passer rating. The year before that, 67.3% of his passes, 4,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, over 101 quarterback rating. 2019 completed 70% of his passes, 4,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, over 100 passer rating. You don't tell me that after 1 year he's all of a sudden an awful quarterback. Look at his last 4 or 5 years. You can't just come here and tell me about 1 year. Look what he did last year. Look what he did last year. Look what he did last year. It's more about football than last year, especially for the quarterback position with a new head coach, with new weapons. Yes, the weapons got better. He had Devontae Adams and things like that. But you're not just going to tell me after one season, all of a sudden, he's an awful quarterback. He's an awful quarterback. Yes, he has to get better in some things, and it is what it is. No quarterback's going to be perfect if they hit the free agency market. You're not going to find Drew Brees. You're not going to find Patrick Mahomes. You're not going to find Joe Burrow in free agency. It just doesn't happen. We only got Drew Brees out of free agency because his shoulder wasn't even connected. You're never going to find these guys. These guys rarely ever hit free agency. So when you're going to pick a quarterback out of free agency or a trade market or something like that, they're going to have flaws. They're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be A-plus guys. They're not going to be tier 1 quarterbacks. So, to be honest, you got to take what you can take, or you can go in the draft and have a crapshoot because especially at the quarterback position, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get at the quarterback position. So, you can take a proven commodity like Derek Carr, who's probably, in the 15 range of top quarterbacks. He's probably between, depending on who you ask, 12 to 18. Some people are crazy and might have them, somewhere at 10. And then I think the lower end will be like 18 to 20 range. So from 10 to 20 probably. I think he's probably, off the top of my head, 15, 16, somewhere in there, a mid-tier quarterback. And at this point, that is what it is. It is what it is at this point. You're going to get above average to slightly good quarterback right now. If you think he can bridge the gap for 1 or 2 years while you figure out what you're doing at the quarterback position, that's what you're going to have to do. Because you're not going to find the guy that's going to have the keys to the franchise in free agency. And you might not find him in the draft, especially picking at number 29. So you just got to play the hand that you're dealt, play the hand that you have. And this might be the best option for the Saints. I think it is the best option for the Saints, especially if you're going to just, try to spend some draft capital that we don't have already to try to move up into the top 10 range to get a quarterback, because that's going to be almost impossible. You're going to probably end up having to spend 3 first-round picks and maybe some players just to get up that high. So I highly doubt that's going to happen. So I think Derek Carr may end up being the best option for the Saints. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below about this situation going on in New Orleans. As always, this is the Boo Tragedies, and I'm out.
So one last time, let's make